Part of our so we are uploading content to our YouTube channel, the Botha Network, and one of our content series is a series where we're going to be doing like tutorials to help people learn to play the game better.
Right.
The first tutorial we have up is in our Road to Mastery series is a hand resource.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing Sabine. You're playing Sabine into a green boba deck, and you
Right.
draw these 6 cards. So
Okay.
let's go to hand cam. Show chat what you have. So those are your 6 cards. You have a resource decision to make against green boba.
See them all.
Yep, that looks really good, I think. Does it look good on Twitch, everybody? You can see your hand pretty well?
Looks great.
Good.
Looks super great.
Yeah, thanks for helping us set that up, Chris.
Yeah,
Good,
looks
Jonathan.
better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if you were playing a Sabine, it could be green or yellow, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
These cards are in both decks. How would you talk us through, and then if I have ideas, I'll bounce them off of you, but talk us through how would you resource this against green boba? That's different than a yellow boba. And then we'll talk about if you were playing yellow boba, what would we do instead?
Yeah, so first we've got 2 resource drops. So I would
Here, it's a
usually
little bit-
against, there we go.
Yeah, try to hold it lower. There you go.
Usually against boba, there's 2 strategies. One is you want to, depending on who has initiative, right? I mean, you may want to go
think-
ground or space. You may want to keep
thought
2
in the
options.
video we said that let's talk it through both ways.
Okay.
Let's start with you have initiative. That's a great point.
Okay.
That's an amazing point that chat and everyone trying to learn to play better, you have to who has initiative oftentimes is a big factor in how you resource. And we'll
Right.
walk through that deeper today because we're going to be doing Green Sabine play lines. So we'll walk through that.
And it makes a
deeper
big difference
later
if you're
on the stream.
You have initiative, your opponent has an ECL. They can always, ECL out your first drop.
Yeah.
So
So the
makes a big
ECL,
difference,
right?
too.
If your opponent's playing ECL, that's definitely a big factor.
right.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I mean, ideally against any, I think we're just playing any deck. Let's see. I would keep the A-Wing for my first turn drop. And then I would probably resource these 2. Let's just say we're doing an ideal resource. Resource
Can you
these.
lower your hand a little bit?
Yeah. Resource the X-Wing and the Sabine, most likely, and keep the Wing Leader, Fleet Lieutenant, and 4 calls. 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Even if I don't draw anything else, that's good.
Right. That's great. Now, that's with you having initiative.
Right.
Now, if they have initiative, does that change your opinion on what you resource?
Yes, because if I want to lane dodge,
Right.
I would need to keep 2 different resources. So I would
Yes.
probably keep the A-Wing and the Sabine, and probably you can get rid of the X-Wing.
Yes. So definitely for sure we can agree on resourcing
And
the
then I
X-Wing.
probably, it depends on how many 4 calls we're running.
Yeah.
That makes a difference too. But I probably resource the 4 calls.
Right. Because we're way away from
And the
needing a
X-Wing.
finisher at the end of the game.
Resource these.
Now,
2.
there's another factor to think about here is if they were playing instead of a 30-point green boba deck, if they were a 25-point green boba deck, if they had ECL, there's a factor that would make the A-Wing less attractive as a keep than the X-Wing.
Right.
Do you remember why that
Yeah,
is?
because they could ECL in right away with a space unit and kill this and survive because it only does 1 point of damage back.
Yes, that one.
So-
Boom. The
Yeah.
worst case scenario.
Or they take initiative and automatically
Yeah.
kill it too.
So
Same
put-
issue.
Yeah, put the A-Wing back. Put the A-Wing down. Let's say you played the A-Wing. A boba with a ECL can ECL in at the beginning of the next turn.
Yeah.
They can ECL in a 7th Fleet Defender. They can choose the order of which the shield or the ambush hits. So
They hit with the shield.
what they should do is they should ambush first, only taking 1 damage back. Then we use the blue dice for shields, and then put it. So it would look
That
like
hurts.
this. It would hurt bad. You would have no A-Wing, and they would have a shielded 3-1 7th Fleet Defender.
Womp, womp, womp.
Womp, womp, womp. We got to add sound effects. As the stream grows and gets better, we'll add sound effects. But now we have a womp, womp, womp we need to add.
Such a good
clip that.
point.
Yeah. So that's definitely a reason why if you're playing against an ECL, we would actually put the X-Wing down.
Yeah.
We'd actually keep the X-Wing, not the A-Wing. This is one of the rare times you think that's better. Because now if they try to ambush in with the 7th Fleet Defender, they can't do that trick. They have to put the shield
Or they
first.
could trade them.
Well, they don't want to trade them.
Yeah.
They'd use the shield, pop the shield to kill it. But at least now the 7th Fleet Defender in space has its shield popped.
Right.
And you like to pop shields.
Right.
Okay. What are you laughing about? That's true. Okay. So let's put that back in the deck. Let's go back to the
Okay.
original question, though. So we've agreed that you're going to resource the X-Wing and we're going to resource the 4-Cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Well, you talked about lane dodging, and let's go back to your hand. Lower your hand. We're going to
And
definitely
these 4,
figure-
put them all.
Yeah.
Put them all of them here.
Well, no. Put down the. We all.
Okay.
I'm agreeing
Okay.
on the X-Wing and the 4-Cause. But here's another problem you have: is when you're resourcing, it's not just about choosing your first turn play.
Right.
What else are you thinking about when you're resourcing?
Well, thinking about what they're going to play in their
Yeah.
turns, because especially with Boba, Mono Boba, you got to worry about waylay. And so a lot of times in cunning and all those, I don't want to use my wing leader because it's just going to
Right.
bounce.
Yeah. Your play line here may be to use your fleet lieutenant
Right.
on turn 2, not
And
your
maybe
wing
to
leader.
resource this and
Right.
keep something else.
Well, we don't know what we're going to draw, but
Right,
definitely those are your first 2 resources. There's another problem you have here, which gives you another reason you want to keep both the A-Wing and the Sabine. Is what if they kill or bounce your first turn unit before you could play your fleet lieutenant or your wing leader?
Right.
Then you're like, well, now what do I do?
Right.
And that's why
Now you
having
wanna
the
have a
other,
backup,
like if you started with the A-Wing and then they bounce it or kill it before you can play again, then you could play your Sabine unit, which is
Right.
more versatile than the fleet lieutenant, and you can keep the fleet lieutenant as a pump later. Or sometimes you just play out a naked fleet lieutenant.
Yeah.
3-3, it happens. You hate it, but you try to avoid it.
Yep. I
One,
mean, you wing leader, fleet lieutenant, you can do some work.
yeah, wing leader, fleet
Not the
lieutenant.
most ideal situation,
No,
but
but we'll get some damage on your base.
that's right. It's still a 3 for 3/3.
Yeah, I mean, any of these play lines beat Palpatine, right? And then the other thing to think about too, there's another card that Boba's running a lot in set 2. What is another thing you need to be thinking about against yellow villain decks now?
Yellow villain. Well, we have cunning. Oh, Bayzine.
Bayzine, yeah.
It's-
Bayzine's a pain in everybody's butt.
Yeah.
Jonathan's been blowing me up with it himself.
Bayzine is-
He's in chat right now.
I'm seeing
Yeah,
this
he even
mess up
brought it
for
up.
some
Bobas
reason.
are playing Bayzine more. So you already brought up lane dodging as a good reason to keep both the A-Wing and the Sabine. Spread the cards a little bit.
Yep.
But another reason to keep it is if this Boba leads off with a Bayzine, for some reason they have initiative,
Yep.
they're going to be really disappointed to look at your hand and go, well, crap. I
Yep.
can't take anything out of their hand that's really going to blow up their turn or
Right.
stop them. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, fun. So that's the way. In the play line, ideally, you would want to go like an A-Wing into a fleet lieutenant.
Or wing
Yeah,
leader.
and then you may even go wing leader. You just got to worry about the
Depends on what you're playing against.
yeah. Depends on what you're
100%.
playing against. Cool. All right,
That's important to know the other decks.
that's right. Yep. All right. Well,